All right, we are live. It is the Spinning Backfish Show live recap of UFC 297 edition. It's like an instant recap, instant reaction to the entire pay-per-view. This is a new trend we're starting here on the Spinning Backfish Show. I'm excited, joined by Jack Mack and Big Ev as always, and presented by New Amsterdam Vodka, the best vodka in the business, born from uncompromising passion for great vodka. While making great vodka is their passion, they're most inspired by those who stay true to who they are and share an unbridled passion for everything they do, from pursuing their dreams to celebrating with friends to having an epic night out. Dricus du Plessis is about to have an epic night out in Toronto, I would imagine. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. I mean, I'm glad we actually got like a fight to really talk about with the last one, because I mean we were going to talk about them regardless, but it wasn't phenomenal. But we got a kind of a controversial fight. I don't think anyone who's throwing around the word robbery, I think's out of their minds. But still, I'm doing pretty well. Excited to see what you guys thought about the. Wow, Anthony Smith actually scored it 49-46 for Strickland. Sorry,
49-46. Wow.
It's still on my screen. He gave Sean Strickland 1, 2, 3, and 5. So I thought I was ambitious with giving Strickland 1, 3, and 5.
Yeah. Oh, so you did score for Strickland.
Thomas gave it 49-46 Dricus, which I think is more fair. Wait, no, never mind. I think it was pretty clear 1 and 5, Sean. But yeah, what's up?
So yeah, I had it 1-3-5 Sean as well. Ev, how did you score the fight?
I thought there was a good chance it was just potentially 1 and 5 for Sean. I thought 2 was really close because I thought Dricus got 3, to be honest. He definitely got 4 for sure. 4.
Yeah, I thought 3 was the deciding round. That's my opinion. I thought.
Yeah, I even thought it could have been 2. Like I even thought 2 was even like pretty close as well.
Yeah.
Like it was. A 48-47 2 ways to 1 is as split gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
fucking fight.
After the third, I thought I pretty clearly gave it to DDP the second round. The third round was the one I thought Sean won, but I'll have to watch it back. I don't think it was huge in either way. Dricus definitely won the fourth. I thought Dricus not clearly, but I thought Dricus won the second as well. But close fight. I mean, I know Sean even said it after. He said, like, I'm mad, I'm salty that I didn't win. I thought I won, but it was as close of a fight as it really gets. And that was a really, really good fight. I mean, it wasn't one that I would be like, my friends, you have to watch this. But if you like fighting, that was fucking awesome.
I think it was more technical than we expected. That, at least from we heard the day before, like to the death, and like it kind of got there at the end of the 5th round. But for the majority of the fight, it was very technical.
I was incredibly impressed with the adjustments that Dricus made.
Yeah, him being able to get into range.
After round one, I was this might just be like a Sean Strickland masterclass.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this just might be levels of just like striking technicality that's just better.
Yeah.
And they said it on the broadcast too, but you saw with your own eyes, like he just kept getting a little closer. Like second round, he had a good round, and then third, and then I thought like this end of the second round he really started landing, and then the third round, and then fourth round he was blasting him with some huge shots, cut him twice, had his whole face just leaking. I was super impressed with like the corner and just him personally just like taking in. Like, I mean, we watched Adesanya just like wilt. Like, he just could not figure it out. And I thought Dricus legitimately was able to like figure it out on the fly pretty quickly, which I thought was very, very impressive. So hats off to him.
I was impressed with his cardio too. Like I thought he was gassing at one point, and then by the end of the fight, I was like, I guess not. Like I want to say like second, third round, I was like, all right, here we go. He's about to slow down, and he kind of just didn't.
He was just as fresh as Sean, I thought, in the 5th round. I thought Sean won the 5th round.
Yeah,
I thought he landed better overall, but it was still close. But I thought Sean won the 5th round.
I thought his cardio, outside of his adjustments, were so impressive. I mean, let's not forget he was kind of known as like a cardio dumper. Obviously, we made the jokes about his nose. Anik brought it up during the fight. and then said like, oh, that's he kind of dismissed it. But and then also the takedowns that he implemented, even though I think it's tough because we're so accustomed to takedowns being scored so significantly, but then they're not anymore. And he didn't really do anything with them, but he did in close rounds. I guess they were kind of differentiators. So I think that is something to consider. But he was just on that front foot the entire night. And I think Sean will look back on that 5th round and kind of be like, man, I kind of let Dricus do his thing 2 through 4 when I really should have shut that down sooner than later. But that's the difference in this fight.
Yeah. Which my bad to cut you off. Was it the third? Was it after the 3rd round? I think it was the 3rd round that when he came back and Nixick was like, I don't like that at all. Like I hated that round.
Yeah, it was after the 3rd. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was the 3rd. I was thinking out loud in my head. I was thinking the 3rd. That's why, and that was why I thought like I probably leaned his way. Like even his own coach didn't really like feel great about it.
Yeah, I even feel like just the fact that he landed the takedown early, like, gave Sean something to think about the rest of the fight. His head kick was, like, getting through. Even in the first round, his head kick got through a couple times. So the fact that he was able to, like, actually make Sean think about things probably stopped a lot of the volume we usually know from Strickland, I feel like.
I think so, too. I think it opened up the striking for Dricus as well.
Yeah, the overhand started landing more and more.
He was ripping to the body more too. He was landing more like
good body kicks too. Yeah.
Oh, those body shots were like so impressive. Also, after the 3rd, it seemed like his eye, or 2nd even, his eye was gonna shut, and then it like almost like what was going on with the eye was almost it turned up above it.
Yeah.
And instead of closing it, which obviously I'm even looking at him now, and it's not even swelled up that much. Like he can clearly see out of it. I thought after the 2nd, I was like, oh man, Dricus had a great round there, but that eye is going to be an issue. But It turned out it wasn't. I mean, Dricus really answered a lot of questions, and I don't think Sean fought a bad fight by any means. Dricus just had him on that back foot, and Strickland was jabbing him, but and Anik pointed it out, and I think DC too, maybe Dean Thomas. He would throw one jab. He wouldn't like do a 1-2. That's probably goes to show because he was scared of Dricus's power. But
I like this comment from Matt. Upset there was no bite. We were on bite watch in this fight.
We were on bite watch.
The classic spin backfish chat guy there. Shout out to everyone in the chat right now, by the way. Make sure you like the stream and everything. Someone mentioned in the chat, if I could find it, I will put it on the screen. They said, what would you line a rematch between these two?
I literally think I do exactly the same.
Yeah, maybe like
Dricus. I thought that was as a pick'em fight as like you're going to see.
Dricus minus 120, if anything. Like, it's just like.
We think DDP and Izzy's next, right? That seems like the clear, like, if you have that in front of you, how can you not take that opportunity?
Has to be. It's the biggest. It's the biggest fight you can make. I think right now, outside of like a Conor fight, it might be the biggest fight you can make in the UFC.
Well, Hamzat tweeted, like he called Dricus something I've never I think it was like a joke or something. But is it possible if Izzy can't fight? I mean, I don't even know why Izzy couldn't fight. It's not like he got hurt by Sean Strickland. I know he wanted to take some time off, but you think DDP can fight
at 300? I don't know. That's what I was thinking.
I think it might be too much of a war to turn around like that in like 3 months.
That was like, I mean, he seems fine leaving, and he's the ultimate competitor and whatnot. But man, like that was a war of war. Not the war of wars, but I mean, he's leaving with some damage.
5 rounds of just like eating pretty big shots. Like his eye was closed at that one point. Like, yeah.
I mean, think about it for an 8-week camp. He'd have to be in camp in like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's too fast, probably. And Izzy, so they said something about, I think it was on Rogan with Piper. They were saying something that that Izzy basically he like had some injury that he's recovering from. Maybe he had like an operation, maybe or something.
So maybe that's what
They were saying that he was recovering from something that he was like not like he won't be back. It was something that he said he'd be back training like the end of February, which would be just not enough turnaround for like no way you're just getting back in the gym and then fighting like a month and a half later. I wouldn't think he's going to do that.
This is just how the cookie crumbles, but like UFC 300, is there any way we could do like UFC 299.5, UFC 299.75, and then the UFC 300 actually I think July is really when it would be like you could do so many fights then. So many.
It should be the headliner of International Fight Week would be the next best thing.
Yeah.
Just a banger ass card and just the Battle of Africa is it's just the perfect 300 main event. It's a shame the stars like it seems like they just haven't aligned for it, but that is the perfect like the event that the status makes sense, the build up, everything around it. Like DDP stock is now even higher. Can Izzy come back and like take the just the storyline, which is the build up? They legitimately don't like each other. Everything about it would just be incredible.
Now I was watching I was watching the Fight Companion tonight, Joe Rogan Fight Companion, and Eddie Bravo said maybe 100 times during the main event that he thinks Bo Nickel can just come in and roll over both of those guys. He's like, just literally nobody in the division is going to be able to put up with the wrestling. What do you line like a DDP Bo Nickel fight if they booked that right now?
DDP minus 200? Like
I mean, he's got to be DDP like
got to be the favorite.
We literally haven't seen Bo Nickel get a hit yet. Like we haven't even seen him get punched.
Yeah.
I know Bo Nickel's wrestling is so much better than DDP's, but he's like DDP's physical. Like it's like
big and strong, at least.
I mean, DDP the fact we're even here, and I tweeted this before the fight. The fact we're even breaking down a Sean Strickland DDP championship fight is unbelievable. And now we're like talking about like, oh, is the Izzy part's more believable, but man, like just truly, truly unbelievable times. And I think they really delivered. And also they really did respect each other. Like they at the end of the day, we really thought it was going to be bad blood. They called it. Like bad blood was the tagline.
Yeah.
By the end of this fight, they even said after the fight, they were DDP said that he's a great guy and he respects him, and same with Sean. Sean got the mic.
A little pause before he said that too, which I thought it was funny. He was like, "He's a great guy." Like he really was like, I don't know what I call it. He's like,
I know he called him a great man. He's like, "You're a great
man,
great man." And then Sean got on the mic and was like, "I lost, but at least I'm gonna like increase my popularity in Canada." And then just said, "Hey, Canada, I fucking love you guys."
Co-main event is not really worth talking about much. It was the most nothing fight of all time. It was like maybe worse that it wasn't as bad as like a Nama Yunus, what's her face fight. Who did she fight? It was Esparza.
Esparza.
The worst fight of all time. It wasn't that bad. It was just boring. Like it was this fights like that sometimes can turn around and you're like, it's so bad, like it's worth talking about. This one is not even worth talking about.
I was just so surprised. I guess I shouldn't be that surprised, but there were so many times that I thought Raquel, when she just struck, it just was piecing her up so badly. And then she would just like let me just hold her against the cage, which I mean, to her credit, like she won that way, I guess. But I mean, and the way, I mean, if you had Pennington round 4, round 5, I pour one out for you tonight because that was. Yeah. I mean, she was exhausted. Silva was exhausted after the 3rd round. I thought she had the triangle in the 5th round.
Me too. Yeah.
Like I didn't even have any action on it. And when she was in mount with the triangle, I was screaming at the TV, "Put your leg on the other side!" Like I'm fucking some jujitsu expert or something. I'm yelling at her I'm like, "Throw the leg over!" I'm like, "Throw the leg over!" Like the fight, you're gonna end the fight. She just refused to do it, and then it ended up finally. I think at one point it wasn't even a little more, and then she just got. There was a minute left, and she's just like, "I'm a minute away from laying on her and just winning the belt." So I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, it was. I mean, fight.
Even her post-fight press conference, or not press conference, but in the cage, it was very like, it didn't even seem like she was that excited. I mean, I get it. You just fought 5 rounds and whatnot. but she was just like, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I did it.
Because she beat Mario Bueno Silva. She even feels it. Like, it doesn't have the same feel of, like, anyone who watched that fight, I feel like you don't have to even know the sport to watch that fight and be like, that was kind of like not the most high quality. Like, it didn't feel like a title fight in terms of quality.
MPI, when we were talking about Hamzat earlier, I was wondering the same. Well, like, what is Plessis? Like, what does that mean? Maybe it's an insult I don't get, but that's what Hamzat calls DDP. I mean, obviously, it sounds like his name, but Plessis?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's just how he spelled it by accident.
Autocorrect?
He spelled it incorrectly.
So what's worse, having like a Pennington round 4-5 or having Mike Malott via decision and then watching him choke away that fight in the final seconds of that? Because that was crazy.
Pennington was like 30-1, 40-1 in those rounds. So
there
like,
was
yeah.
She was round 5 today on the one side. She was 45-1 round 5.
Oh my God.
That choke was in. She had that shit in.
Yeah.
Man.
And I thought she was almost about to tap too.
I did too.
Yeah.
Oh man. But I mean,
Neil Magny though.
Neil Magny, just a professional fraud checker. He's literally like, if there's a young welterweight contender, his like your first step of cracking the top 15 is you have to be able to beat Neil Magny. It's like level it's like this third to last level of the game. If you can beat Neil Magny, you get a top 10. If you can beat that guy, you get top 5. If you beat that, you get a title. But you got to beat Neil Magny first.
He got 90. It's like playing a video game and like making it right to the end of the level, and then you die, and it's like, oh, I didn't fucking save the checkpoint. Like, he was there. He was right at the goal line. There's seconds left in the fight. And then when Magny started pouring it on, I was like, no way is this going to be the end of the fight. There's 30 seconds. He could survive, right? He literally couldn't survive. He had nothing left in his gas tank. It's crazy.
They should have stopped it earlier, I thought.
Yeah, probably. They probably let it go a little too long.
I thought he was trying to give him like any chance to just like a little bit and get out of there and just like get the decision. And then there was one punch where his arms felt like they were like this, and he just ate one. And then his arms were full on. He wasn't even going like this. He just was like, I think he was in La La Land.
And it's like, I understand the ref trying to give him an opportunity because he didn't take any damage before that. He was doing the leg kicks that Ian Gary was doing. Like, he's fighting a good fight. And then just maybe it's Canada. Maybe it's the building tonight. 0-7 in men's fighters.
Oh, my God.
You got Jillian Robertson and Jasmine early on, but they were so early on that people probably weren't even in the arena yet to pop for them.
And I know we'll get to every fight and we'll spend some time on others, but Jasmine almost had one of the worst non-finishes ever, and I don't even think it was her fault. That fight should have been stopped like 85 times. I don't know what the ref was looking for. Obviously, she eventually got it, but if I didn't cash Jasmine round 2 or round 3, I think I would have I don't know, like gave up, like just like turned off the card and like watched the football games and went to bed. I was like, Robbie can handle the StreamYard tonight.
The key word for that fight was investigation.
Yeah,
because that's what needs to happen to that wrestler.
Yeah,
that was insane.
He waited till a pint of blood was poured out
in the first round.
Yeah,
she was.
Yes,
I can't believe so long. I was like, she's gonna punch herself out. I was like, the ref is making her punch herself out.
And
I was like, there was one. What did it say? There was at one point it was like 232 to like 4 strikes.
Yeah,
I was like, and these aren't like fucking rabbit punches. She was just beating the shit out of her.
It broke the record.
The entire fight.
Yeah, it's got the record for the biggest strike differential, I think. It's like 313 to like 20 or something. There's the final count, something like that.
The only one I can remember being in was maybe worse, maybe or close maybe, was that Zhang Lemos fight. I mean, she beat the brakes off.
Oh, yeah.
I still remember that. I had fight doesn't go the distance there. Maybe I had Zhang inside the distance. It was like that was special. But I'm looking at but yeah, Mike Malott, man, really tough. He didn't really even look that good throughout. He was going to win, but
Got takedowns, like, and he never got that close to a finish, which he probably should have because he got mounted a couple times.
Yeah, and I know Neil Magny's hard to tap, but I mean, like, you know, Malot's supposed to be this BJJ specialist, and yeah, I was really disappointed in him, and I would have said that even if he got the decision.
There was the one moment in the fight where he grabbed Magny's leg from underneath and like pushed him down, and at that point, I was like, Neil Magny is not what Neil Magny used to be. Like, that is a fight that he should be able to win. If you could fucking trip Neil Magny the way he tripped Neil Magny on the knee bar attempt, oh my god, the fact that he choked that away was insane.
Are you talking about the one at the end? That was like towards the end of the fight.
Yeah,
that was when I thought at first Magny was like starting to turn the tide a little bit. He like got him. He took him down, and that's I was thinking the same thing as you. I was like, oh, he put him in that. And I was like, is this dude about to just get put in a leg lock? After that, I was like, no way. But to his credit, then he like fought back out of it and then got on top of him. And that was Neil. We didn't know that was Mike Malott literally on his last stand.
Yeah, that was his last.
And then that was it. But I agree with Jack like 100%. I was thinking the same thing. Even in the middle of the third round, like before it even got remotely bad for him, I was like, oh, I can't wait to fade him, whatever they to the next contender. That's literally what NPI said. I was like, when they give him the top, I'm thinking in my head, if they give him a top 10 after this performance against Neil Magny, I'm gonna hammer whoever he's fighting because that guy's gonna wash him.
The Chris Curtis fight, not great.
Third round was good.
Yeah, the third round did pick up by the end of the fight, but the first two rounds were just like nothing rounds.
Also, I thought 2 30-27s for Curtis was insane.
Yeah.
I thought it was a coin flip fight. Like I had no problem with either way, but I thought I had Curtis, and I thought 30-27 2 cards was insane. Yeah. I thought it was pretty fucking close.
Very close. I gave it to Chris, but 30-27 was when I heard the card, I was like, oh, it's for Chris, but
yeah.
I was surprised by 30-27. I thought Marc-Andre fought kind of the best of any Canadian male tonight, which is saying something, I guess. I mean, Chris is just really good at boxing. But
yep.
Is this really something Anik said? Bob, do you agree with John Anik's statement that Strickland is becoming as big as McGregor?
I feel like he didn't say it.
That doesn't feel like it's happening to me right now. It doesn't feel like, oh my God, the world is talking about Sean Strickland. Like he's huge. No doubt about it. And more people are talking about him. Rogan was talking about him on the Companion tonight. I told you guys, Rogan was like all about his rant at that. He's like, that woke reporter, Sean calling him the infection. He's like, that was great. All of America was like, thank you. And I was like, oh boy, people are going to be like writing articles about Joe Rogan agreeing with that tomorrow.
Yeah, that's on like definitely clipped on a subreddit somewhere, and then it'll get
probably already clipped, and people are probably already super pissed about it. But the rest of the Fight Companion, if you watched it like in context, they're just getting fucked up doing smelling salts as the co-main event is happening. I tweeted out some videos of Joey Diaz doing smelling salts on the Fight Companion. Must watch. So good.
Oh, I have to go back and just watch that and listen to it because it's always good. There's always a good little nuggets and whatnot. I guess
it was my favorite one in a while. I watched the last couple, and this one I felt like had like old school Fight Companion vibes.
So
you said that he said BST has probably killed someone with a rock.
I tweeted the clip of that. Yeah, he's like trying to explain to Eddie Bravo how good he is because Eddie Bravo like isn't really familiar with him. And he's like, where's he good? And he's like, everywhere. And he's like, you can't say everywhere. He's like, bro, everywhere. He's like, how's his jiu-jitsu? He's like, it's great. He's like, dude, he's a different guy. He's killed people. He's like, he's probably killed people with a rock, you know? He's like, he's like, it's a different mindset these people have. And he's dead serious. It's like, he might not be wrong. But the fact that that's how Joe Rogan's brain works, where he's like, he probably picked up a rock at some point, smashed a brain in. I'm like, this is the funniest shit I've ever heard.
I gotta be honest. If you look BSD, he's got some eyes like he killed somebody.
Well, that's what he's saying. He's like those people that gone to war. He's like, they don't point fight. They fight for like something triggers in their mind where they're like, I have to like live or die here.
If you put a gun to my head and said you have to live and die with, has Benoit Saint Denis killed another man? I would say yes. I swear to God.
Oh yeah, special forces and he went to war and shit. Yeah.
His eyes are just like black.
Yeah.
Like even I even noticed that even with Frivola after like Frivola was almost trying to be so like respectful in defeat with him, and even just the way BSD he would not that BSD was disrespectful, but there was something just very like he just feels like he's like emotionless, like he just feels like soulless.
He's like the Terminator.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like he just has the soul of a man that's taken someone's soul.
That's cold.
Yeah, that's a good line. That's a great
line. You should take that from me.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Then watch. You can have that
one. A lot of people talking about Brad Katona getting robbed. People saying I can't stand him, but I think he got robbed. I saw that a couple times in the chat. I thought it was close. I probably scored it for him.
I also thought Armfield landed all the bigger punches.
Yeah, it was a very like Brad Katona type performance where like it looked like he was on his way to getting a decision. I thought until he didn't, but like I'm not angry at Armfield getting that decision.
I just thought I put it in our group chat. I felt like it was like all 3 rounds just at the end of the round. I mean more. Well, the third round he had a lot more of it. I'll say at least the first 2. I'll say the first 2 rounds, it felt like the last 30 seconds he just put him up against the cage. Like took him down, he got right back up, did no damage. That people kind of were like, "Oh, like that's Katona's round," because the striking was close. And I really thought Armfield was landed, especially rounds 1 or 2, landed the bigger, more significant punches.
Yeah, this is weird if true. Zach says in a post-fight presser, Curtis said he'd love to fight Strickland.
He did.
Did he say that just like kidding around, like we fight in the gym all the time? Because it doesn't make sense to fight.
Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially. He was asked, like, oh, like, if you ever, like, stumbled your way into the belt, and he's like, can I fight Sean? And they're like, yeah, I mean, yeah. And he goes, and the guy's like, you'd want to fight Sean? And he's like, he tries to kill me for free almost every day. he goes, he even admitted he'd probably lose.
Well,
he was like, I might as well get a big check for it. Yeah. He goes, honestly, I probably lose, but I have a way bigger bank account after.
I respect that. You know what? That makes a lot of sense to me then. Like reading it, not in context, I'm like, why would he say that? You saying that, I'm like, all right, that makes sense.
He tries to kill me in the cage multiple times. He goes, we've been kicked out of like 3 gyms for fist fighting. He's trying to kill me in the cage, in the gym, outside the cage, like he's outside.
It's a reality show waiting to happen. I know they have a podcast already, but like, let's get cameras on that friendship 24/7. Let's just see what that's like.
And everything he said, he was smiling the whole time.
What did you guys think of Evelev versus Allen? I mean, I thought it was a pretty good fight. It was like
all right.
I thought there were some great moments. Allen, the knees are definitely the most controversial spot. I mean, I don't know how it would have changed if it didn't stop, if the ref didn't stop. But I mean, it's possible that, I mean, when Allen got removed from it and the ref took him away, Evelev seemed okay. Obviously, he had the big cut, but still stopping it in that moment was a big decision. And I get why, but they seemed kind of legal, right?
I thought they looked good.
Yeah, I thought when they slowed it down, I thought he was timing him like perfect. Like he was like throwing his hand was just getting up off the mat, and he was boom knee.
Rogan was very vocal about thinking they were all legal too. He was like, I hope commentary's like pointing out that these are all perfect. He's like, he timed him perfectly, picked up the hands when he needed to. Rogan was fucking pissed that they stopped the fight.
I mean, I thought it was crazy because it was one of those where wasn't thinking it totally in the moment, but then I had a moment at the very end where I was like, this fight might be closer on the cards than people like are thinking.
Yeah, no, I thought so too.
Because the first round was close, and then the second round definitely was Evloev. Like he almost knocked him out.
Exactly.
He had him hurt pretty badly, and then I thought Allen probably won the third round, to be honest.
Yeah. I think on most cards it was 1-2 Evelev and then 3 Allen. Allen's a guy who's now lost 2 in a row that I look at as almost better than I did coming into those fights. I thought he gave Holloway a good run.
Max, you can't disparage him for.
And then even this one, I think Evelev's really like I don't know how good Evelev is. I don't know if he'll ever hold a belt, but I do think he's he's a really, really tough matchup for a lot of guys. And Allen, I mean, talk about a guy who just gets up. Like he just is like, no, I'm like, you're not keeping me down on the mat. He's like, I'm just gonna get that.
Dude,
I wish
those rolls.
The rolls were crazy, bro.
Insane.
Grambies, yeah.
But still, I like Arnold Allen going forward. He's still young.
What happens with Evalev from here? What do you do with him?
You need to finish somebody before you get a title fight.
I know you can't give him a title match, but like, who do you give him in that? It's a weird like. Is he gonna fight below him in the rankings?
I guess he's 4 now.
Yeah.
Or if they give him Allen's spot, he'd be 4. So I mean,
Yair and Ortega have a fight booked.
Winner of Yair Ortega.
Yair's such a good matchup for him.
And I would even say Ortega's like a decent matchup for him.
I think he grapple fucks Yair.
I mean, does he get the winner of Volk Topuria?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think they,
unless they need like a Volk title fight in a pinch somewhere. I don't know.
Maybe he gets the winner of Cater Aljo.
He could. That would make sense.
Yeah, I think that
I was thinking for Arnold. I feel like Emmett makes a lot of sense.
Emmett, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good fight. I like that. That's a great fight night main event right there.
They haven't fought each other.
Yeah.
Emmett's coming off obviously like a knockout of the year candidate. I mean, I mean, that's about as vicious knockout you're going to see. And even Allen off 2 losses, two close losses to Max Holloway, and this was a close, good fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe the Yair Ortega winner you give to Evlov.
You could, yeah.
I guess. I mean, he hasn't fought either of them yet, and the winner would be fighting up.
And shout out Lee for letting us know this right here. Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. UFC 298 just announced.
I like that fight a lot. I think Kopylov slept on.
So this is interesting. Also, Dana just said Conor isn't fighting in June or 300. That's true. That like, what's going on? What's that announcement? Where did that come from? Is Conor trying to force the UFC's hand by like announcing his own date and trying to make like public interest towards like what the fuck is going on there? Why can't we get this guy in a cage? He says he wants to fight. What's like? There's got to be more to it than we know because
money.
If Conor wants to fight, the UFC definitely wants him to fight. It has to be money, right? But like Conor has so much money that why does he want so much money now?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm almost getting to the point where we waited so long for this fight. Like we thought we were getting this fight literally last summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about that.
We thought we were getting it last fucking summer.
Dude, the Ultimate Fighter came and went so long ago.
Yeah, Brad Katona tonight.
He might be out of the UFC by the time this fucking fight happens.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah, again. Brad Katona has 2. Oh, I guess this is his first fight since the Ultimate Fighter, but like he's had 2 fights since it started on UFC pay-per-views. Man, that really.
Word for word, when Conor's ready to fight, we will let everyone know.
What? Oh my god,
man.
I mean, also Conor. I mean, he might just be full of shit. Also, like, I mean, he's been boozing a ton. Like, he might not be doing shit.
What about Chandler? Like, what? Like, Chandler's got to be like, what the fuck?
Definitely, but Chandler's like that's such a between a rock and a hard place. Like, do I take another fight because Chandler's not like a young gun anymore. Like he's got a couple fights left in his career probably, or do I wait around for McGregor? Like,
I didn't. So they read this. I read this. I didn't realize I forget who it was that talked about it. Whether it was DC or somebody else that was talking about like when they did the Ultimate Fighter. They pay them a lot to do the Ultimate Fighter, which I didn't realize.
Oh yeah.
So I think they get, and especially to do one with McGregor, I think.
Yeah.
And I know I had heard Dana say a bunch of times like he's fine money wise. So I mean, like saying you talking about Chandler. So I mean, he must have made a shit ton of money just coaching the Ultimate Fighter.
I'm sure ESPN probably like went crazy to have Conor on one of their like streaming service shows.
And it was just on normal TV. It was on like
True.
Like ESPN2 or whatever. Or was it on ESPN? It might have been a normal one.
People are saying better odds Conor's going to run for political office in Ireland before he steps back in the cage. Man, I hope not. Like, I don't even want this guy to go off and box Pacquiao like he's threatening. Like, I want to see him in the octagon. I want to see him throw elbows and kicks, and spinning back fists like that. I want to see all of it. I don't want politics. I don't want boxing. Just fucking get back in a cage. I don't know what the holdup there is. Someone in the chat shouted out Ev for smartly, I thought at the time, maybe harshly, bluntly, you could say, but smartly warning everyone against Malcolm Gordon minus 200.
You know what happens? I say these things and then they get posted and I'm like, you know what? Half of me is I'm like, I gotta stand on business. Like I'm not fraud. but then the other half of me is like, I don't want to insult the fighters, even though I that was very insulting what I said. But I was right.
You were right. You were so right. You couldn't have been more right, to be honest. I laughed out loud when I saw the fight play out.
Even if he had knocked him out before that sequence, I still stand by that.
Yeah.
If you laid minus 200 with Malcolm Gordon, I question whether you use incredibly hard drugs before we made that decision. Malcolm Gordon, he showed like he is just not good.
Well, he was against the amazing combination of Khabib and Damian Maia combined in Jimmy Flick.
That's true.
Jimmy Flick.
I wrestle like Khabib. My jiu-jitsu is like Damian Maia.
Yeah.
I did not realize Jimmy Flick has this side of him, which is like very personable. The way he reacted after the first round, he was cheering on the crowd, and then when he choked him out, he got up and he did this. I mean, I thought he was a quiet guy from Kentucky. No, he's cocky and he's funny too. Shout out Jimmy Flick. That line is a hell of a line. Khabib and Damian Maia. I would love to know who he gives his himself as a striker, because his striking is
probably John Jones, to be honest.
No, Ben Askren. Imagine he was like
that's who I was going to say. Ben Askren striking.
Ben Askren striking.
I mean, he was making Malcolm Gordon look like a prime like fucking. I was going to say out of fucking Anderson.
Yeah. I feel like talking about Jimmy Flick is a good time to bring up Rough and Rowdy, because we got Rough and Rowdy on Thursday. Jimmy Flick is invited to any Rough and Rowdy he wants to come to. He seems like he would fit right in. I'm excited for this one. We get the whole normal squad. So it's going to be Dave, me, and Big Cat on commentary. Ronan, Caleb Large, Jersey Jerry, Frank the Tank, all on, commentary outside of the ring duties, interview duties. It's going to be in Providence Thursday, January 25th, 20 amateur fights, no headgear, amazing matchups. 25 Cent is coming back. Bobby Lang is fighting the Polish Hammer. We've got like a 6'11 versus 6'9 matchup, I think. Vicky D's fighting a 39-year-old angry mom. Lord Burns versus the Backflip Ninja, two guys that have backflipped in the Rough and Rowdy ring. Live ring girl contest.
I heard about the backflipper. Like there's backflipping beef.
Big backflipping beef. Yeah, it's like, so like the other thing is, if you got two backflippers, are they both going to backflip at the same time, cancel the backflip out in the ring? Are they not? Is it like when you got two grapplers in the octagon, they're not going to grapple. They're going to strike like Usman and Covington won or something. Is it going to be like that? No backflips. We're going to see a front flip or something. I don't know. BuyRNR.com is where you watch it. You get the replay available the following week as well, so you could watch it throughout the entire week. Bunch of New England massholes and locals just settling beef. So Rough and Rowdy, if you enjoy this crazy shit, combat sports world and stuff like that, you'll love Rough and Rowdy.
So for the next fights, we're pretty clear in DDP versus Izzy.
Yep.
And then Strickland, what do you do with him? Do you give him Hamzat?
Oh, that's interesting.
Good.
I like that.
Or what do you do with Strickland? I mean,
I like Strickland Hamzat just from a build-up storyline perspective. I feel like they're two like true lunatics who want to like rip their opponents' heads off once they get in the cage. Like, I'm in on that immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, because outside of that, I mean, I guess you could do Sean Whitaker. I mean, like, where's Rob at? Well, Rob's fighting. What am I saying? Rob's
Yeah,
fighting.
he's fighting on
Costa.
that next card.
Fight.
So I guess we'll see how that goes, and then like, I mean,
Yeah, you could give him Rob if yeah.
Or just I guess like the winner of Rob Costa.
Yeah.
And then
I like Hamzat because I mean that can be like easily like a co-main event or even
yeah.
The two of them could headline a pay-per-view, honestly.
I'd like that to be a 5-round fight. Like, yeah. Either a main event or a 5-round co-main, like, yeah.
Especially after we saw what Usman did to Hamzat in like the third round. I mean, off the couch.
Yeah.
I mean, if Sean can survive the first 2 rounds, I mean, I think he can win.
Someone asked biggest takeaway from DDP. I think it's what you guys were mentioning before. I think it's the adjustments. The fact that he was able to make adjustments against Strickland mid-fight, bring the fight to him like we said and everything. But like that was really impressive.
He's a winner, high IQ.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that what I've just said connected with me big time. He's just a winner. Like he just finds ways to win. He looks awkward in there at points, but it doesn't matter. He just finds ways to win, and it's not even like he's getting lucky. No, he's just really he didn't break Sean by any means, but he really made it a close fight and he won. Now, Usman in this division is also another kind of weird. If he wants to stay up there and whatnot, what do you do with him? How much does he want to fight, or does he only really want to go like once a year or so? Obviously, he has the knees and whatnot. One other fight that we didn't touch on: Woodson versus Jourdain.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Funny looking back on, but really tough. Like that's got to be an awful feeling.
Oh my god, the worst feeling for Jourdain. Like, dude, that's and crazy how it happened because like they said the right name. It like they had a mix up because I guess the ref raised the hand, but the crowd also popped. So I wrote in my blog like, was the crowd just reacting to his hand getting raised?
Yeah.
Probably. Did anyone mishear that the same way the ref did? Because he said Sean Woodson. He didn't say Charles. He didn't even say it for a second. So I don't know how that happened.
I heard the sniper, and I was like, "Oh, that's not Charles Air Jourdain." Like, and then I was like, "Oh, maybe." But doesn't the ref get told by Bruce before he reads it?
I guess not.
Yeah, or maybe just like that's just brutal. And then Woodson thought he lost, and he was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Like he was
like Woodson, I think it's just a feeling of relief because I think going into the decision, he's like, I easily won that fight. I'm definitely getting the decision. Then you don't get it. You're like, what the fuck? But then it's like, oh, of course, that's the way it should have been. For Jourdain, it's like you get the reaction of like, I just won a fight. I didn't think I was gonna win in front of my home country. Everyone went nuts for me. Never mind. And you're getting paid 50% of what you thought. It's like, enjoy your Uber home.
I had it on at the same time like the Packers-Niners game was on. So I had the decision like on basically no volume. What a roller coaster.
Yeah.
When I literally just see I just see they raised Jourdain. He raised Jourdain's hand like half raises it. And I'm like, Jourdain won it. I didn't really care who won. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. Yeah. I was like, Woodson definitely won that fight. And then you see DC like walk over and he's like looks at like I'm just watching this all with no volume. And he just like grabs Woodson, he like pulls it back, he's like, no, like you come here. And he like just pointing at Woodson, he's like, no, and I could literally hear his lips like you won. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I turned the volume on and then they like replayed it.
Yeah.
And
so this is the French pronunciation.
He clearly says Sean.
Yeah. Maybe the French pronunciation is like Charles.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I guess, yeah. Because he clearly says Sean. He says Sean.
Yeah. But I blogged it, and I posted an old clip. Someone tweeted me of Bruce actually fucking up a Jim Miller fight where he's like, Jim Miller. Oh, sorry. It's great. I put it in the blog. It's really funny. Go check that out on the site. What else have we not mentioned from the card? Anything? Jillian Robertson won. Card opened with a bunch of submissions. Like they went 4 for 4 on submissions in the first 4 fights, I think.
Yeah. I just want what do you do with Woodson? I feel like he's kind of I don't know. I think he's kind of good. Or do you not think that? I know
I don't know.
I just feel like if he fought anyone in the top 15, he would have a problem.
I think so too. Big problem.
Like I'm trying to think who, like at featherweight, the back end of the top 15. I mean, I don't think that goes well for him. I mean, I think he's decent.
like him against like Billy Q, Sadiq Yusuf, Barbosa, Cub Swanson.
Yeah, like I think those guys like.
I think Billy
maybe
Q
Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson makes sense, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Anyone like Caceres, like Dan Ige, like Sadiq, like Barbosa. I think these guys beat him like pretty easily.
Someone said Thug Nasty. I think Thug Nasty beats him pretty easily, Kyle.
That's an interesting matchup.
Could be wrong, but I got Thug Nasty in that fight. Shout out Kyle in the chat though.
He's so long. I mean, his legs are so long.
Yeah,
he's got such long reach for a featherweight. It's crazy.
Jonathan Martinez, I don't hate that.
Martinez is a bantamweight.
Oh yeah, so that doesn't work.
Yeah,
you know who I'd love to see?
The back 15 is like Lerone Murphy, like Danny Gay.
Yeah,
like Alex Caceres.
I want to see him against Giga Chikadze.
Okay, I don't hate that.
Yeah,
give me that. No, I was more thinking.
What was the last fight? Caceres was his last fight.
Yeah,
he's fought once in the last like almost 3 years.
I was saying more for looking at Woodson. Like, give him like, I mean, Jourdain's probably a top 25 guy. Maybe give Woodson a little bit higher up, like Nathaniel Wood, Caceres.
What
I think
a height difference that is.
Yeah,
Lerone
like
Murphy.
5'6".
Danny Garcia says, "Please talk about CD Tavares, arguably best fight of the night." That's definitely a good point. Agreed.
They didn't get fight of the night.
Did they give it to the main event?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I bet they'll hook those guys up though, because that's like such an awesome fight. One of those fights where it's like, probably myself included, people look at and it's like two debuting fighters gonna fight on a pay-per-view card. Like, that's interesting. I can't believe they do that matchmaking wise. Every time that happens, the fight's a fucking banger.
Yeah, and the two performances of the night was Jillian Robertson and Jasmine. The two Canadians that won.
Yeah, makes sense.
I like this from Lee. Obviously,
Woodson, Jack Shore. Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
Jack Shore hasn't fought in a while either.
He hasn't. The last time he fought was in London?
Landwehr.
I
want to see Landwehr in like brawls though.
Yeah,
that's true.
I want to see Landwehr fight I want to see him fight another like dog. He's just the Nate the Train's a stud. He said, when I get in the ice plunge, my veins get colder.
Dana's so obsessed with the cold plunges right now. He posted a video like shouting out, I guess, a cold plunge like spa place in Toronto. But I didn't know what it was going to be. He's like, he shoots the outside of it. He's like, it's called like Otherworld. He's like, this is the greatest spot on earth. And he shows a couple like moments of the inside. It's just a normal spa that has cold plunge baths. Which I love when Dana gets into something like that. He's the #1 cold plunge guy on Instagram right now, because I've seen like Stone Cold did a video doing a cold plunge, and the first person I saw liked by Dana White. I was like, oh yeah, he's putting everyone onto it right now.
The cold plunge, everyone's doing the cold plunges now. Every single person. It's Joe Rogan does them too. That's always funny. It's like Joe
Rogan does them with his like serious faces where he'll get it and be like, his like veins are popping out.
Did you see Louis C.K. talking to Rogan about cold plunges?
No,
it's like, that's fucking ridiculous. He's like at a certain point, like, we're human beings, like enough is enough. And Rogan's like, no, we're like humans. We're supposed to be better. We know this is good for you. And like Louis C.K. was like, enough, dude. So like, it was just like, it was such a like Joe Rogan and classic comedian conversation. Like, Rogan's not the classic comedian. He's more like like a sports hardo kind of.
Knocking him, yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite back and forths he ever had was with Bill Burr after Rogan gave him elk meat that Rogan had like shot. And he said, "You ate the elk meat, right, Bill?" And he was like, "Yeah, I did. It was amazing." And he was like, "Didn't it make you feel like more of a man? Like you had like testosterone pumping through your veins when you ate it?" Bill Burr was just like, "No, you fucking lunatic. I just thought it tasted good."
Oh, God. I just picture him, he just does elk. He just like he eats elk and immediately just like starts doing push-ups.
Yeah. He's like, "God, I feel like a primal man now, like a caveman. Like he just like can't get enough of elk." And he apparently has like freezers full of it at his compound. Everyone that does this podcast goes home with like a vat full of elk meat.
He just like eats elk and then like just goes outside and chops wood.
Yeah. Shoots his bow and arrow, his crossbow, all that shit. Yeah. All right.
Did you know
I think we talked about most of the card.
Before we go, did you know that this is also very random? I'm sure Joe Rogan knows this, but Sidney Wells' dad is like the greatest bow shooter in the history of bow shooting.
I've heard that, yeah.
And Rogan, I'm sure Rogan knows who he is because
Rogan is obsessed with that, yeah.
Yeah, I guess Sidney Wells' dad, who also is like a hunter influencer. He probably wouldn't like to be called influencer,
outdoorsman,
famous outdoorsman. He's a great American man, but he, I guess, is the greatest. Like, and he doesn't even use the ones like Rogan uses with everything. It's literally just a bow and arrow.
Yeah,
it's like
Rogan does the ones where it's like, I don't even know if you got to do a lot of work. Now I'm sure Rogan would be like, "Yes, you fucking do." But the way I see it, he pulls the thing back and it has like 10 arms that like pull gears back and fucking shoots it at 10, crazy. Bow and arrows that are just like Poeton fucking. That's crazy.
Strickland just went after a reporter at the post-fight presser. What?
Went at tried to fight a reporter, or just started yelling at him like he did.
Strickland just wild the F out. All right, I'm gonna go on Twitter and try to figure it out.
Yeah, what do we got going on before we end this live stream? Do we have breaking news? Hopefully Strickland didn't like jump at Oscar Willis or Jose Youngs or something, because I'm
not seeing anything.
Dana said he had Strickland winning the fight.
I did see that.
Somebody just posted.
Go ahead, Jack.
He said he had a 2-2 go in the last round, that he thought Strickland won the 5th round, which I agree won the 5th round.
Jose said
it was Jose.
UFC, no. Jose said UFC PR tells us Sean Strickland is not expected to speak with the media backstage tonight.
Oh, did we get got?
I think we got, but I mean, it's 2:44 in the morning. Like, come on, like we're gonna get got.
You can't be getting us at 2:44 in the morning. We're just trying to get through it. But you know what? Shout out JJ Redick Supremacy. He hot billied us. The spirit of hot Billy is with us in the chat tonight. All right, we got. Good way to end the stream.
My brain's like half.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Dricus. I mean, like what a fucking performance, man. Just really.
And also, this upcoming week, look out for some spin and back fist interviews. Sage Northcutt, Gary Tonin. It's a good week. We don't have UFC this upcoming weekend, but we do have one championship, 165. So look out for that. And also a very respected combat sports event next weekend, the Royal Rumble. 30 men enter, 1 man leaves. Boom. All right. Thank you, New Amsterdam Vodka. Rough and Rowdy on Thursday. Buy rnr.com. Congrats, Drew.